Part 31. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 301. Zuyun couldn't continue to untie the knot for Qiuqi, so he quickly floated away. The demonic energy just now made him very uncomfortable. Want to run? Uncle Tiger, nothing I saw ever ran away. As he spoke, a large tiger rushed out first, and even with a leap, it pounced on Zuyun. Demon Tiger. Zuyun's pupils shrank. The demon tiger's momentum was not weak. As a spirit at this time, he had no means of attack and defense. Feeling the demonic energy coming rapidly behind him, Zuyun didn't have time to think about it, and he took off again, barely avoiding the attack of the demon beast. But in an instant, there was a whistling sound, and a pair of giant pounced. Zuyun was shocked, and his body quickly leaned back, dodging in a very weird posture. He secretly thanked himself that he was a spirit and had no bones, otherwise his waist would be broken. Hurry up, both of you, fight quickly, or it will be bad if you attract the Fox Demon King. Another deep voice sounded, and Zuyun saw from the corner of his eye that it was a sturdy demon bear. This metal spirit doesn't seem so stupid. After the demon tiger landed, it responded and ran towards a giant tree, and then kicked hard and jumped towards Zuyun. Zuyun couldn't help but look at Qiuqi, thinking that if he stayed here, he might not even be able to save his life, so he could only leave for the time being. Who knew that the moment Qiuqi met his eyes, he said first, "Iron fool, run quickly, don't worry about me." Hearing this, Zuyun's heart was moved. For Qiuqi, sending him away from the range of the demon fox mountain was a trivial matter. But if he didn't have him, he would be discovered by the other demon foxes, and even if nothing happened, he would have to run away. He really wanted to say, "I will come back." But at this time, it was not appropriate. If he said it, it would alert the three monsters. Zuyun said no more. With the flexibility of his body and the cover of the big tree, he dodged and fled to the distance. "Big Tiger, you go and chase, this metal spirit runs very fast." The flying monster eagle said, "It still needs to take Qiuqi down and take him away. This place is not far from the monster fox territory, and it will change if it is delayed." "Okay, see you at the old place." The monster tiger chased Zuyun without looking back, and occasionally jumped up and pounced on Zuyun with the help of the tree trunk. Zuyun cried out in pain. As a spirit, he could not release his spiritual consciousness. If the tiger claws hit him, he would be seriously injured if not dead. If he showed his true form at this time, it would definitely cause the three monsters to attack. So at this time, he had no choice but to escape. As for Qiuqi's safety, he was not worried. These monsters were to capture Qiuqi and sell her, so they would naturally ensure her safety. Zuyun ran all the way along the top of the mountain, but just as he climbed over the top of the mountain, the demon tiger behind him looked down and took advantage of the height to pounce on him. "Where are you going to run?" The demon tiger roared wildly, and gathered a demon power in its giant palm, and took advantage of the momentum to slap it down. However, Zuyun snorted coldly and immediately turned back to human form. "Leave the fire." In an instant, a flame emerged from Zuyun's palm, and when he met the tiger's claws, he immediately turned into a dragon. The fire dragon quickly grew larger, opened its huge mouth, and directly bit the demon tiger's giant claws. Roar. After turning back to human form, Zuyun couldn't understand what the demon tiger was roaring. But he could hear the fear in the roar. "Are you afraid of fire? Then I'll increase the fire for you." Zuyun snorted coldly, his eyes focused, and he pinched a firebird talisman with his right hand. The demon tiger was shocked. In terms of strength, it was not weak. In addition, the demon beast had a unique talent, which made it much stronger than the human cultivators of the same realm. but it always thought that Zuyun was just a metal spirit. Who would have thought that when it was about to capture him, Zuyun suddenly turned into a human. Moreover, Zuyun's Luo also directly burned its right claw. The demon tiger instinctively shook off the fire dragon, and then avoided the continued attack of the Luo dragon. Zuyun's firebird talisman also came. The talisman turned into a flame, and it also instantly expanded into a fire phoenix. Clang clang clang. The sound of the phoenix rang out, and the fire phoenix, under Zuyun's control, flew towards the demon tiger. At the same time, the fire dragon also took advantage of the victory to pursue. Ang ang ang. One dragon and one phoenix, attacking from both sides. The demon tiger had never seen such a scene before. It was injured first, and it couldn't figure out why Zuyun turned into a human. It was so frightened that its tiger tail was clamped in its buttocks, and it turned around and ran. Humph, is it too late to run now? Zuyun flipped his right hand, holding the sword and thrusting forward. The majestic chaotic spiritual power immediately turned into golden spiritual power and poured into the sword. The sword energy was released. The golden sword energy, which was 10 feet wide, shot towards the retreat of the demon tiger. Boom! Faced with such a fierce attack, the demon tiger stopped in a hurry, and the sword energy wiped off its tiger whiskers, but the fire phoenix and the fire dragon had already hit its body. In an instant, the demon tiger was in a sea of fire. The two kinds of fire continued to burn the demon tiger, and screams continued to come from the fire. And Zuyun did not give it too much time to scream, and thrust out another sword, and the sword energy penetrated into the fire, directly cutting the demon tiger into 2 pieces. Big Bear, did the big tiger get beaten? The demon eagle just untied Xianxia from the tree and flew down and asked. The demon bear looked towards the top of the hill and shook his head, saying, "It doesn't look like that. Doesn't it usually make such a loud noise when it fights?" The demon eagle hesitated for a moment and said, "Why don't I go and take a look? I always feel something is wrong." After that, it flicked its claws and threw Xianxia to the demon bear. "Let's go together." The noise just now was quite loud. Not only will it attract the old fox, it will probably attract other demon foxes. The demon bear held Xianxia under his armpit and said to the demon eagle, "Then I'll take a look first." The demon eagle was faster than the demon bear. It flapped its wings and flew towards the top of the hill. At this time, Zuyun had long known that if he killed the demon tiger, the demon eagle would definitely come to check, so he was ready. However, it did not rush to take action, but used the wood escape technique and merged into a big tree. Originally, he wanted to use the gold escape technique again. But then he thought, these demon beasts trade with humans, and they would not let go of metal ores. If the demon eagle wants to take the ore first, I will have no place to cry. As expected. As soon as Zuyun hid in the tree, the demon eagle flew to the top of the mountain. After seeing the charred demon tiger, it screamed suddenly to alert the demon bear. However, it remained alert and did not land directly. Instinct told it that landing would be dangerous, and it could only wait until the demon bear came before making plans. And the demon bear still at the bottom of the mountain, after hearing the demon eagle's cry, also rushed over suddenly. Zuyun, who was in the big tree, actually felt the vibration of the mountain. This demon bear may be difficult to deal with such great power. Zuyun secretly smacked his lips in his heart. However, it also judged that the giant bear was not fast, and at that time, it could only use this to grind it to death, and it would be possible to rescue Xianxia. Thinking of this, Zuyun pondered for a while. The only chance later was to sneak attack the demon eagle after the demon bear arrived. Only when the demon eagle died, he could save Xianxia. But the demon eagle didn't land, and the only thing he could use was the golden sun curse. The shaking of the mountain was getting stronger and stronger, and the demon bear was getting closer. It wasn't until it climbed over the mountain that the demon eagle flew over and landed on a giant tree branch beside it. Big Bear, Dahu was burned to death. The demon eagle said indignantly, "How could the metal spirit use fire?" The demon bear didn't speak, but walked forward to carefully observe the body of the demon tiger, and then turned around and said, "It is indeed fire, but this fire doesn't look like demon fire. You smell it?" The demon eagle was surprised. "Big bird, you fly in the sky, so you naturally have good eyesight. And we crawl on the ground, relying on our sense of smell." The demon bear said lightly, and then opened its mouth and bit the body of the demon tiger. "Big Bear, what are you doing?" the demon eagle screamed. The demon bear raised its head. Its mouth was already covered with blood, and it was holding a round demon pill in its mouth. After swallowing it in one gulp, it said, "There is an idiom in the human race, called making the best use of things. The big tiger is dead, and this demon pill cannot be wasted." The demon eagle was stunned, slurped his saliva, and said, "Now that you say that, it seems to be very fragrant." The demon bear snorted, "Wait, I always feel that something is peeping, but he dare not eat too much. Wait for me to eat a little more, and then you will eat it." The demon eagle was shocked, his eyes became sharp, and he said, "I want to see what tricks the metal spirit dares to play. Leave some for me." The demon bear ignored it and swallowed it in big mouthfuls. The demon eagle was immediately anxious, fearing that the demon bear would eat up the tiger meat, and quickly jumped down from the branch. At this time, Zuyun took action. Golden Sun Curse. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 302. When the wood escape technique was used, Zuyun could not attack and could only leave the tree trunk. But at this time, the demon eagle had already flown close to the demon bear, and the demon bear was immersed in swallowing. Of course, he would not let go of such an opportunity. Zuyun flashed out and immediately used the Golden Sun Curse. In an instant, the golden light was strong, directly covering the demon eagle and the demon bear. At the same time, Zuyun also quickly threw out 9 spirit stones. 9 turn 9 suns formation. The formation was to trap the demon bear so that it could not attack itself. Zuyun only needed to delay for a moment, and he had the confidence to shoot down the demon eagle. Under Zuyun's control, the golden light hit the demon eagle. This made it almost nowhere to hide, and it screamed continuously. Birds and demon beasts are all talented in flying, and their physical strength is not as strong as that of demon bears and demon tigers. Moreover, it has excellent eyesight and is also subject to the golden light in the sky. The demon eagle kept rolling in the air, like a flying boat that was shot down, turning straight down, with no power to resist at all. In the 9 suns formation, 9 round suns also rolled down and hit the demon bear one after another, making it unable to rush to help. When the demon eagle landed, Zuyun also quickly took out a firebird talisman and threw it directly over. Clang! The phoenix rang out, magnified in the demon eagle's confused eyes, and then swallowed it. The phoenix that fell to the ground was not as good as a chicken, let alone the demon eagle that was shot down. Chirp chirp! The demon eagle screamed miserably. Zuyun glanced at the demon bear's side and found that it could not break through the 9 suns formation for a while, so he took out the spirit sword, and the sword energy was released to directly cut off the demon eagle's head. The demon blood splashed everywhere, which further stimulated the bloodiness of the demon bear. Roar! It roared loudly, threw away Chi under its armpit, stood up, and was 10 feet tall. The huge bear claws faced the incoming sun and slapped it fiercely. The sun transformed by the spiritual power was actually slapped away directly. What a powerful physical strength! Fortunately, I didn't choose to sneak attack the demon bear first. Zuyun was extremely shocked. The demon eagle had been killed by it, and the goal had been achieved. Now it was time to run first. Without hesitation, he stepped on the Changshengju footwork and turned back to run towards the top of the mountain. The giant bear slapped away 2 more suns, and the array pattern of the 9 yang 9 turns great array also dissipated. And the demon bear actually remembered Xiu-Qi, who was thrown aside, and grabbed her again, tucked her under his armpit, but turned back and ran down the mountain. It didn't mean to chase Zuyun. This time, Zuyun was also dumbfounded, and his body suddenly stagnated and stopped. This demon bear didn't fall for it? Then the plan he had thought of before would be useless. However, Zuyun didn't rush to chase, but saw the demon bear running down the mountain to a certain distance, and then followed it, thinking constantly in his mind. Does this demon bear simply not want to fight with me, or does it think Xiu-Qi is more important? Going down the slope, the demon bear's speed is getting faster and faster. This is the speed added to it by its weight. When it reaches the middle of the mountain, it does not dodge the big tree in front of it, but chooses to crash into it directly. Some big trees that even require 3 Zuyuns to hug together, the demon bear also directly breaks them, which makes Zuyun terrified. Indeed, it can break these trees at will with its spiritual power. But the problem is that the demon bear did not use any demon power at all, relying entirely on the strength of its physical body. Horrible. Zuyun's eyes became solemn. If so, he really had no way to deal with the demon bear. Even if his chaos palm could kill the demon bear with 1 palm, it would have to wait until the demon bear rushed towards him. This is still the case when the demon bear does not carry Xiu-Qi with it. Little fox, I can only take it 1 step at a time. Zuyun was helpless and had to follow while thinking about countermeasures. Soon, the bear and the man rushed to the bottom of the mountain. Taking advantage of the momentum, the demon bear rushed up another hillside. It was still charging like that, but the speed slowed down a little. Zuyun kept a certain distance from it and did not dare to get too close. A demon beast that could be so rational might be scheming and waiting for him to be fooled. Xiu-Qi was sandwiched by the demon bear, with her head facing backwards. She looked at Zuyun blankly. In a vague way, Zuyun gave her a familiar feeling. But it was the first time she saw a real person. Before, she had only seen a portrait of a person in her father's house. Moreover, her father said that most of the human race were born insidious and cunning, and could not be trusted. If you have successfully cultivated to the transformation stage in the future, you must protect yourself when walking in the human cultivation world. At that time, Xiu-Qi pointed at the person in the painting and said curiously, "Father, does the person you are talking about look like this?" "Yes, people look like this." "Father, why do you hang a portrait of a person here?" "This person is the benefactor of our demon fox clan. Your father's father said that if you meet his descendants in the future, you must call him master." "Ah. Who is this person, and why is he so powerful?" "His name is Yeyong, and he came from the deepest part of the 10,000 mountains. So he is different from the human race in the outside world." For some reason, Qiuqi's mind kept echoing his father's words at this time, and his eyes gradually brightened. Because she could see that Zuyun was chasing after her in order to save her. So, she is a descendant of the Ye family and has a connection with our demon fox clan? Zuyun didn't know that Qiuqi had recognized the wrong person. He simply felt that Qiuqi entered the trap in order to take her away from Demon Fox Mountain. As long as it's within his ability, he will definitely save him. If you can't help, then you can only say sorry. And obviously, there is still hope at this time. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Zuyun was chasing after him when he suddenly heard Qiuqi's call. It's just that he was not a metal spirit, so he couldn't understand what Qiuqi was shouting. He thought Qiuqi was pinched by the monster bear's giant arm, so he screamed so eagerly, and he couldn't help but feel a little anxious in his heart. He was afraid that Qiuqi would be pinched to death, so wouldn't the chase be in vain? Under this, Zuyun also quickened his pace, while thinking about what method to use. But right now, even all his trump cards are not suitable. What should I do? The demon bear won't stop, and I can't do anything. Zuyun frowned. He was alone. Is this really all he could do? Wait, alone. Suddenly, Zuyun's eyes lit up. Didn't I have help? In an instant, with a thought, he immediately summoned Zhao Kamang and the Red Candle Beast. Old Zhao, you and the Red Candle Beast force the demon bear to stop. By the way, be careful not to hurt the little fox. Zuyun shouted in a low voice. Roar. Zhao Kamang quickly adapted to the situation in front of him, roared to express his knowledge, and at the same time gave instructions to the Red Candle Beast. The two beasts rushed forward, one on the left and the other on the right, outflanking the demon bear. In terms of realm, Zhao Kamang is already at the peak of the late stage of foundation building. Although the Red Candle Beast is weaker and the environment here is not suitable, he is playing with fire after all, and he is not afraid of monsters like the demon bear that rely on the body for food. After eating a lot of demon pills in the periphery, their strength has also improved a lot. Facing the huge body of the demon bear, they did not show any timidity. The longer they stay in the ranch, the more they understand the magic of the ranch. Pure and inexhaustible spiritual power, and the spiritual spring of that large lake. At this time, the demon bear is in the ice slope, so speed naturally becomes a disadvantage. On the contrary, the smaller Zhao Kamang and the Red Candle Beast quickly caught up with the demon bear. Zuyun also speeded up slightly. He needs to ensure that the demon bear is within his attack range before he has a chance to take action. Roar. The Red Candle Beast surpassed the demon bear one step ahead, and with a low roar, it breathed out fire. The demon bear showed a fierce look in his eyes, stretched out his left paw and struck it, and the flames of the Red Candle Beast were instantly extinguished. So strong, does this mean you can defeat all laws with your strength? Zuyun was frightened for a while, but here, Zhao Kamang also took the opportunity to take action. He also roared low, and because the demonic bear had not retracted its left claw at this time, he quickly pounced on it when his footing was unstable. The dragon-toothed beast he transformed into has extremely sharp claws. The claws are aimed at both sides of the demon bear's neck, and his killing move is his fangs. As long as he gets on it, Zhao Kamang will bite off the soft flesh and blood with his sharp teeth. However, the demon bear is not easy to deal with. It roared and suddenly rushed forward. Zhao Kamang missed immediately, and it quickly stopped, and its huge bear claws suddenly struck Zhao Kamang, who missed the attack. This scene looks like he was sent to the bear's paw. Old Zhao. Zuyun was shocked. This bear claw could blow away the sun of the nine turns and nine yang formation. If it hit Zhao Kamang, how could it be a big deal? In a hurry, Zuyun couldn't care too much, and rushed over quickly even though the spiritual sword in his hand might break. But before the person arrived, and before the bear claws were taken, an even more terrifying demonic power appeared out of thin air, locking on the man and the three demons. As if time had stood still, Red Candle Beast and Zhao Kamang were suppressed to the ground, unable to move. The giant claws of the demon bear kept shaking, but it couldn't be photographed. As for Zuyun, he even felt like he was about to stop breathing. In the midst of his panic, a crisp and extremely pleasant male voice came into his ears. If you dare to rob the Demon Fox clan, you will die. Someone is coming? This is the language of the human race, but why is the demon's power so huge? Is it a demon fox that can already transform? Zuyun couldn't look back to see who was coming. His unable to move body told him that he was not safe yet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 303. In Surprise. The demon power didn't have any fancy magic at all, and it poured into the demon bear's body crazily. Bang! A moment later, the demon bear suddenly exploded into blood foam, and even Zuyun, who was more than 10 steps away, was sprayed in the face. But Qiu Qi fell to the ground intact, with no trace of blood on his flawless white fox fur. Then, the voice turned to Zuyun. It's been a long time since I've seen a human being go so deep into the 100,000 mountains. Why, are you here to kidnap my people and sell them in the Peeper realm? The tone turned from indifferent to cold, and then filled with murderous intent. Zuyun was extremely panicked. What should I do? A monster that can speak human words is not something he can deal with now. Not to mention, I can't move at this time. Squeak, squeak, squeak. At this time, Qiu Qi jumped up and down and screamed anxiously at the sky behind Zuyun. The voice asked doubtfully, you mean he came to save you? Squeak, squeak, squeak. Qiu Qi stood up and nodded frequently. Zuyun was stunned and his thoughts stopped immediately. How did Qiu Qi know that he was saving her? I haven't revealed my identity. Or did she see it? But no matter what, as Qiu Qi kept calling and communicating with the visitors, Zuyun felt that the evil spirit locked on him was gradually weakening. It wasn't until he suddenly disappeared that Zuyun realized that he was sweating coldly. Just when he wanted to turn around to see who it was and say hello again, he heard the voice snored, "Don't look back, everyone who has seen me is dead." Zuyun froze and immediately did not dare to move. The voice said again, "Take the monster you summoned and get out. Go back to where you came from. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." Then, another wave of demon power came, but it didn't hurt him, but lifted up Qiu Qi. I saw Qiu Qi looking directly at Zuyun with his eyes open, as if he was thanking him. But Zuyun didn't understand and just let Qiu Qi fly over his head. It wasn't until the demonic power dissipated and there was no sound anymore that Zuyun sat slumped on the ground. All the clothes on his body were soaked. Zhao Kamang walked up to him with the red candle beast and kept roaring, as if he wanted to say something. Zuyun did not dare to turn into a metal spirit body at will at this time. Who knew whether the monster that rescued Qiu Qi was secretly watching? That is to put Zhao Kamang and the red candle beast away at the same time. This method is no different from that of some monks who can control monsters, so don't worry about it. Then he stood up, looked straight ahead, and smiled bitterly again. He couldn't look back, and he didn't dare to go either way. Therefore, we can only follow the west and continue deep into the Shiwen mountain. Oh, let's take a detour. Zuyun smiled bitterly and muttered to himself, gripped the spirit sword tightly, suppressed the sound of footsteps as much as possible, and walked towards the top of the mountain. After he planned to climb over the mountain, he would take out the 10,000 formation orders from the Diwu glazed mirror and throw them away before taking a detour and leaving. This 100,000 mountain is really terrifying. I don't know how Yayong existed at that time. He walked out of it. Far away. Seeing Zuyun over the top of the mountain, Qiu Kake said, "Father, why did you scare him? You don't understand." The Fox King put Qiu Qi down from his arms and said calmly, "You said he is a descendant of the Ye family, but I don't smell the blood of the Ye family in him." Qiu Qi raised his head and looked at his father who had turned into a human form but had 5 fox tails sticking out behind him and said, "But he is not from the Ye family, why did he save me? This is the first time I have seen a living person." "Xiao Qi, you have to know that everything a person does has a motive. In this world, there is no such thing as good for no reason, everything is only benefit." Qiu Qi seemed to understand, and said, "But father, Yayong is also a human, why would he save our fox clan? And you said that Yayong asked for anything in return, so what was his motive for saving us?" The Fox King chuckled lightly and said, "Because this is not the human world, there is no ugliness in the human world. Let's go, That kid is scared by me. After saying that, he turned around, picked up Xiu-Qi with his foxtail, and then threw him into his arms. Like a mortal holding a pet cat, he walked towards Fox Mountain. Then father, Xiu-Qi struggled for a moment, trying to get down and walk on his own, but he couldn't break free at all, so he had no choice but to continue. You can just let him go, why do you want to scare him again? The Fox King froze for a moment, and then said in a cold voice, I scared him because I didn't want him to die. If he saw my face at this time and said nonsense after leaving, do you think it would spread to the Peeper Realm? But father, you said it's a long way to Peeper Realm, and that person is only in the foundation building stage. In my opinion, he should be from Chuzhu. Chuzhu and Yeazhu are connected, and Yeazhu can go directly to Peeper Realm. It is precisely because he is from Chuzhu that I scared him away. Do you still remember the human idiom that people's words are fearful? Xiu-Qi nodded. The Fox King immediately nodded happily, and then continued, people's words are scary, which means that the words of the human race are terrible. There is a long distance between Chuzhu and Peeper Realm. If these words are spread to Peeper Realm, it will be even more powerful. Is that so? Xiu-Qi blinked, feeling a little confused. Of course, if that boy sees his father's appearance, he goes back and says that I am a person with a long tail. Maybe if it spreads to Yeazhu, it will become that I am a woman with a long tail. If it spreads to the Peeper Realm, I don't know if it will become a beautiful woman. So what do you think? At this time, Xiu-Qi understood and said seriously, the language of the human race is really exquisite. A few words can explain so many meanings. The Fox King smiled and said, that's natural. The human race is the spirit of all things. It is undeniable. Their knowledge is also their heritage. Why does your father let you learn the knowledge of the human race so much? It's because you are the most likely to cultivate the nine-tailed celestial fox. But staying in the 100,000 mountains will trap you, so sooner or later you will go to the world of human cultivation. Only with more knowledge and experience can you succeed in cultivation. Father, I don't want to leave you. Xiu-Qi hugged Fox King's hand fiercely, feeling a little reluctant to let go. Why? The Fox King was displeased. You told me the story of Yaoyong last time, saying that he left his hometown and came to Chuzhu. I will not leave his family, and I don't want to leave him. Xiu-Qi shook his head and said, and couldn't help but think of the metal spirit from before. He didn't know if Tai Han ran away. The Fox King almost lost his balance. It seems that instead of asking my daughter to go on a mountain patrol to exercise, she should be asked to study hard. If this were in the Peeper Realm, I would probably be laughed to death on the streets within 3 days. The Fox King has decided to lock up Xiu-Qi and study for 10 years before doing so. The space in the mirror, inside the ranch. Zuyun looked at Zhao Kamang in shock. At this time, he turned into a metal spirit body, so he could understand Zhao Kamang's words. You mean, the one who suppressed us was a man with 5 fox tails? Yes, master, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. He probably thought I was just an ordinary monster, so he didn't pay attention. Zuyun took a deep breath, and then said, have you heard of it? What he meant was that Zhao Kamang was originally from Chuzhu, so did he know anything about Shiwen Das Han? Zhao Kamang thought for a moment and then said, no one in Chuzhu has ever dared to catch the demon fox. It is said that the reason was that Yaoyong cracked the ground in Chuzhu because of the fox demon incident. Is that so? Zuyun's eyes widened with disbelief on his face. The legend goes like this, even no one in Chuzhu dares to mention the word demon fox in public. Zhao Kamang said with certainty. Zuyun couldn't help but fell into deep thought. Since people in Chuzhu are so taboo on demon foxes, why did Xiu-Qi say that the other demon beasts would capture the demon foxes and then sell them to the humans in the Peeper Realm? Chuzhu has no way to go to Peeper Realm. It's like Yunzhou and Chuzhu are bordering each other, but there is a natural chasm, so they can only take a detour through the sea. So, can Shiwen Das Han go directly to Peeper Realm? Zhu Yun quickly asked Zhao Kamang, but Zhao Kamang shook his head and said he didn't know. He was only in the foundation building period of the 100,000 mountains, how could he dare to go deep into it? Zhu Yun sighed, and after instructing Zhao Kamang and the others to practice well, he left the Dao-glazed mirror with the 10,000 formation orders, then casually threw it down the mountain, and then used the golden escape technique to float eastward along the hillside. And the other side. The Danja people who were scattered in all directions reunited because they went deep into the Shiwen mountain. Tang Tiangong's excited voice sounded from the two arrays at the same time. It's appeared, due west, more than 10 miles away. Once you find the person, it doesn't matter whether he lives or lives. There has been no news from Zhu Yun in the past few days, and Tang Tiangang is already like an advance. In order to be able to maintain the large formation in front of him and locate a longer distance, he consumes countless spiritual stones every day. Even the warehouses are stretched thin. But Tang Tiangang, who only thought about revenge, no longer cared about too much. As long as he finds Zhu Yun, he can immediately start his revenge plan. After receiving the instructions, all the people in the Dan formation stage finally breathed a sigh of relief. No more walking on eggshells, now a quick fix. No matter how stable their mood is, they can't stand the oppression of being here for days. As a result, they no longer hid their strength and soared into the sky one after another, flying rapidly towards the west. But they didn't know that Zhu Yun was indeed 10 miles away, but Yehua Mountain was 8 miles away. And the Fox King was slowly walking back to the mountain with Qiu Qi. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 304. No one could have imagined that there would be so many monks in the alchemy stage coming from the depths of the 100,000 mountains. And there was great movement. More than 10 people flew over, and for a while, there was a sound of wind in the air more than 10 feet high. Not only did it alarm some ordinary monsters, it also aroused the vigilance of a group of demon foxes in Demon Fox Mountain, including Demon Fox King and Qiu Qi. Your Majesty, what's wrong? There are more than 10 monks from the human race who are in the alchemy stage coming. Another 5-tailed demon fox came over to tell the news. The Demon Fox King frowned and put Qiu Qi down, his face extremely solemn. Xiao Qi, go back with the elder. If a human monk breaks into this place, it's because the person who came here is evil. After Qiu Qi landed, he stood up straight and said anxiously, Father, what are you going to do? She knew that her father was prejudiced against humans. Especially after the other demon tribes captured the demon fox and sold it to the human race in the Peeper realm, the father could not see the human race. If he hadn't spoken out just now, the human who saved him would have turned into a ball of blood foam. But this time, more than 10 people from the Dan formation stage came. Father, do you want to defeat more with less? That's death. For the Demon Fox clan, 2 tails are beginning to gain spiritual intelligence, 3 tails are equivalent to the Qi refining stage, 4 tails are equivalent to the foundation building stage, and 5 tails are equivalent to the elixir forming stage. It looks like he has a human form, but there is a fox tail behind him, which is comparable to the peak state of the late stage of Danja. If the Fox King wants to break through the 6 tails, it is equivalent to the nascent soul stage of a human monk. That's why he endured it and did not go to Peeper Realm to take revenge. With so many pill-forming stages approaching now, he subconsciously thought that this was a monk from the Peeper Realm who had climbed over directly from the other side of the 100,000 mountains. Xiao Qi, after hearing Qiu Qi's words, King Fox's expression suddenly changed and he said softly, You and the rest of the tribe, hide. Wait until your father comes back. After saying that, he circulated his demonic power again, and said to the elder of the 5-tailed demon fox, Take all the clansmen who are not 5-tailed, leave from the secret passage, and go to Xianxia village to take refuge. Your Majesty. The five-tailed demon fox was shocked, knowing what the Fox King meant. For more than 10 pill formation stages, even if we are no match for them, we still have to fight to the death to keep some, so that those in the people realm know that we, the Demon Fox clan, are not easy to mess with. Your Majesty, the five-tailed demon fox said, my subordinate wants to fight alongside you. As it spoke, it also gathered its demon power, and the 5 tails behind it stood upright. When we go to Xianxia village, we will encounter a more powerful demon clan. Without you to protect us all the way, we demon foxes may be exterminated. So. The Fox King paused for a moment, with a look of determination in his eyes, and said, as long as they are well, our demon fox clan can continue. Your Majesty, I understand. I will definitely protect them. The eyes of the five-tailed demon fox were filled with hatred and hope. Go. After the Fox King finished speaking, he rose into the air and bypassed the demon fox mountain. He wanted to help resist those pill-forming periods before they came. This will give the weak tribesman a chance to escape. He is already the strongest in this area. Compared with the rest of the demon clan. The demon fox clan relies not on body, but on mind. They are weak in body, but as long as they can develop spiritual wisdom, their cultivation is a little faster than the other monsters. Great Elder, what did your father say to you? Qiuqi's words interrupted Elder Wuivai's thoughts. The Great Elder grinned and said, the king said that we demon foxes will never be slaves. Let's go. With that said, he used one of the fox tails to roll up Qiuqi and ran towards the demon fox mountain. Are those human beings really here to catch us during their pill-forming period? Qiuqi asked somewhat unclearly. She was very surprised because the people who came to capture the demon fox clan before were all other demon clans. Such as the previous bears, tigers, eagles, etc. They say the human race is cunning. How could they take such a risk and enter the 100,000 mountains? You know, from Peeper Realm, the distance within the mountain alone is more than 10,000 miles. How many demon clans will we encounter? If they weren't trying to catch us, why did they take such a big risk? The Great Elder said as he ran, there is a saying in the human race, which is, if you don't have any profit, you can't afford to be early. Even if there are only 2 tails of the same clan, they can be sold for a high price of 10,000 spirit stones. Let alone 3 tails and 4 tails. So, the king asked me let me take you to hide in the secret passage first. Qiuqi was a little stunned and fell silent for a moment. What she was thinking was that the human race who wanted to save her from the demon bear earlier was also trying to deceive and sell her away. The Great Elder Demon Fox was very fast and extremely flexible. He quickly returned to Demon Fox Mountain and conveyed the instructions of the Fox King. A total of 7 five-tailed demon foxes learned that the Fox King was at the forefront, and without hesitation, they joined forces and ran towards that place. They are not as powerful as the Fox King and cannot transform into human form, but they have also practiced many magic skills of the Demon Fox clan. The reason why the Fox King did not let the Great Elder go with him was because he was too old. With a lot of experience, it is perfect for it to lead the juniors to escape. Moreover, the five-tailed realm is enough to frighten some demon clans and has a certain protective power. The Great Elder also knew that it was related to the rise and fall of the Fox clan, and there was a long way to go. No matter how unwilling I was, I could only agree. The territory ahead of the Fox clan is forbidden to humans. During those pill-forming periods, they were flying at full speed, and almost no spiritual sense was used to detect the situation. However, the demonic consciousness of the Fox King suddenly enveloped them, and the voice seemed to be heard from all directions. Demon Fox. All the monks stopped and looked solemn. The term monster fox is a taboo for Chuzhu monks. Even if they are already at the peak of the late stage of pill formation, they do not want to have any involvement with the demon fox, lest it cause any accidents. A pill-forming monk stood up and said in a deep voice, "We are just passing by, so be wise and get out of here." But the Fox King didn't believe it at all, and said coldly, "Humans are forbidden to enter the territory of the demon fox. If you want to move forward again, don't blame me, the demon fox clan, for taking action." His purpose at this time was just to delay time. If they still move, they will have no choice but to take action again. But when Tang Tiangang in Xian City saw the light spots of the two array discs stop, he immediately turned on the sound transmission and cursed, "Why did you stop? You are still some distance away from that kid. City Lord Tang, there is a demon fox hiding in the dark blocking the road." A monk holding a formation plate said. "A demon fox?" Tang Tiangang snorted coldly and said, "Just kill him." He had only been in Chuzhou for a few hundred years, and he had been living until he established Xian City. After establishing the Red Flame City, other than setting up formations and revenge, they had no idea what the demon fox represented in Chuzhou. City Lord Tang, this. All the monks were shocked. Tang Tiangang was furious and said, "If you don't kill the demon fox, you will just wait to die. Do you really think that I, Tang Tiangang, is so easy to talk to?" The suddenly louder sound reached the ears of the Fox King in the darkness. He no longer hesitated and took action immediately. A line of demonic power condensed into a line, and it suddenly penetrated the throat of the monk holding the formation plate. "Damn it, if we don't take action, you still dare to kill someone." When the other monks saw this scene, they were also furious. He was already depressed a lot in the 100,000 mountains, but he was forced to take his life by Tang Tiangang. They spread their spiritual consciousness and locked the position of the Fox King. At the same time, as soon as the dead monk's body hit the ground, a golden elixir came out of his body, and he shouted sternly, "Kill him. He actually destroyed my body." But he never thought that several more threads of demonic power would wrap around him. It was the other 7 five-tailed demon foxes who rushed to help. They were originally nimble and very fast. They climbed up under the cover of the big trees in a few clicks, and used the cover of the tree crowns to make sneak attacks. This golden elixir dared to stay where it was, and immediately fled into the distance. The 7 demon foxes stopped chasing and instead joined the battle, finding their targets and starting to attack. Suddenly there was a roar, ancient trees that had grown for countless years were broken, and dead leaves on the ground were flying and dancing in the entanglement of spiritual power and demonic power. The golden elixir did not dare to stay here for fear of being affected, and only planned to wait for the end of the battle before following the others. But never thought about it. The fight here immediately attracted Zhu Yun's attention. And he immediately thought of those who were chasing after him during the pill-forming period. Did he start a fight with the demon clan? His first thought was not to escape, but to go over and see if there was any opportunity to fish in troubled waters. With a roll of his eyes, he used the wood escape technique, and quickly rushed towards the place of fighting through the thick branches of ancient trees. But after only 2 miles, he discovered the golden light in the mid-air. Is someone already disabled? His eyes lit up, and when he saw that Jindan's speed had slowed down, he escaped from the ancient tree, and then immediately turned into a metal spirit body, deliberately swinging back and forth under the tree, trying to attract Jindan's attention. If it was a period of pill formation, he would definitely not dare. But just the golden elixir? With Fen Tianyan in hand, he is not afraid at all. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 305. The golden elixir had nothing to do. As long as he escaped from the fight and was not affected, he would be fine. But he had no idea where to go. But with Zhu Yun's deliberate efforts, he immediately found the metal spirit body transformed by Zhu Yun. "Hey, can I see metal spirits in the 10,000 mountains?" Looking at that silly look, Could it be that he has just awakened to spiritual wisdom? If his body was still there, he could use many magical powers to take Zuyun away. But now he had no means at all. At most, he could break the metal spirit body and absorb the pure spiritual power. For him at this time, there was nothing to lose. Thinking of this, he slowly flew towards Zuyun. As long as he found his weakness, he could take advantage of his unpreparedness and kill him with a fatal blow. But how could he have thought that it was clearly Zuyun who lured him to fly closer, so that he had a chance to kill him? Carelessly, he lowered his altitude and approached Zuyun. Zuyun had already been alert, turned around, and locked the height of Jindan with the corner of his eyes. As long as he reached a certain distance, he would immediately change back to human form and let out the burning sky flame. Jindan was completely unaware, and seeing Zuyun still floating around, he thought to himself that it was indeed a metal spirit body that had just awakened its spiritual wisdom. After relaxing in his heart, Jindan dropped in height again and deliberately flew behind Zuyun, parallel to his neck. The purpose of doing this was to detect Zuyun's weakness. Unfortunately, Zuyun was waiting for this opportunity. He suddenly changed back to human form, and at the same time shouted in his heart, "Burning sky flame!" Jindan had no time to react at all. Before he could recover from the scene of a metal spirit body suddenly turning into a human, an extremely terrifying breath surged from Zuyun's heart and rushed towards him. Not good. Feeling this extremely terrifying fire, and the fact that spiritual fire was the natural nemesis of Jindan, he screamed and flew into the sky. But Zuyun always acts in a way that is fatal if he does not strike. The burning sky flame is extremely fast, and during the time it was nurtured in the fire spirit pearl, it has also been improved in all aspects. When it left Zuyun's heart, it spread out and wrapped around the golden elixir in a fan-shaped manner. But in the blink of an eye, the burning sky flame had already swallowed up the golden elixir. Accompanied by screams, the golden elixir was burned to ashes by the burning sky flame. Hearing this bone-piercing sound that continued to echo in the mountains, Zuyun also hurriedly retracted the burning sky flame, and then used the wood escape technique to hide in a giant tree. In the distance, the demon foxes and cultivators who were fighting fiercely were all stunned when they heard this sound. For the demon foxes, they could clearly hear that this was a scream that only the human race could make. Could it be that there were other cultivators who came to the 10,000 mountains? But the question is, if that's the case, who would dare to attack those human races? The fox demons were already at a disadvantage due to their numbers, and they fought and retreated, not to prolong their lives, but to delay more time. But now, it seemed that helpers had appeared, which gave them some hope, and their offensive became fiercer. On the other hand, these cultivators, they completely recognized that the voice came from their companions. Even if it was just a golden elixir, it was not something that ordinary monsters could kill. It was not so easy for monsters of the size of the fox demon to use magic, or for monster bears with powerful monster bodies, to hit a small golden elixir. Even if the golden elixir was unable to fight back, its flexibility was not comparable to these monsters. So, is someone hunting? With this in mind, these Jindan stage cultivators did not want to fight with the fox demons anymore, and turned to fly over there. For them, their own kind is far more dangerous than the demon race. Moreover, they were much calmer than before, and their purpose of coming here was not for the demon elixir, but for Zuyun. Let's go and have a look. One of the cultivators shouted, and all the cultivators stopped fighting and left the battle. My king, are you going to chase or not? A demon fox asked hurriedly. The fox king pondered for a moment and said, let's go and have a look. Don't move for the time being. At present, the situation is favorable to us. In this way, the younger generation will have more time to escape from here. After that, he also flashed and quickly showed his original form, turning into a five-tailed demon fox. Let's go. At the command, A total of 8 demon foxes followed on the dead leaves. At this time, Zuyun hid in the ancient tree and didn't dare to breathe. Although he knew that his breath would be completely integrated with the ancient tree when practicing the wood escape technique. But when he thought about it, the scream of the golden elixir just now would definitely attract these cultivators, and he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Sure enough, the fighting sound in the distance stopped, and Zuyun immediately cheered up. The reason why he didn't choose to escape was that he was afraid that he couldn't escape the speed of these Jindan stage cultivators. And he didn't hide in the Dao glass mirror, because he was afraid that these Jindan stage people would use their spiritual sense to search and find the fragments of Dao glass mirror. Zuyun didn't dare to take the risk. Although it looked even more thrilling at this time. Right now. At this time, the Jindan stage people came whistling and landed quickly. Coincidentally, they landed on the side of the tree where Zuyun was hiding. That's right, after he killed the Jindan, he hid nearby. Look, is the man with the fox tail chasing us? One of them said loudly, and the Jindan stage person at the end immediately looked back. At the beginning of the fight, the Fox King attracted the most attention. No. They didn't know that foxes were shrewd, even more so after opening their spiritual intelligence. The Fox King had long since turned into a fox and was running towards here with his men. In order not to make any sound of footsteps, he almost always jumped on the branches. They are small and flexible, but not weak in strength, so this is not difficult for them. Just as these people were talking, they seemed to have appeared in the canopy above everyone's heads. The conversation reached the Fox King's ears word for word. I sensed the aura of fire. Maybe his golden elixir was burned to death by the fire. One of the monks frowned and said, Yes, I feel it too. Along the way, there are no fire veins or volcanoes here, it's because someone did it. That's true. But there's only one kind of fire power. There must be only one casual cultivator. Kill him when he's not prepared. Humph, you hid so fast. Forget it, death is death, let's go find someone quickly. Those vixens didn't know what kind of medicine they took, and they insisted on blocking our way, and they struck first. The monster is unreasonable, we must be careful next time. When these people decided to leave, Tang Tiangong's voice sounded again in the array. Now that you are out of the battle, stop causing trouble and catch that kid quickly. Everyone looked at each other speechless. Restricted by Tang Tiangang, they had no choice at all. One person had already died trying to catch Zuyun. No one knows what will happen next in the 100,000 mountains. I can only hope that I am not the next one to die. But if they don't complete Tang Tiangong's mission and don't get the backlash from the art of controlling 10,000 demons, they will also turn into monsters. Let's go. Under the guidance of Tang Tiangang, everyone left one after another and rushed towards the direction where Zuyun came. It wasn't until the figure disappeared that the Fox King jumped down from the top of the tree crown with 7 demon foxes. Your Majesty, is it wrong? These people are not here to arrest our people, said a demon fox. The Fox King was also puzzled, frowning, and thinking, it seems that they are looking for something more important. According to them, the golden elixir was burned to death. Another demon fox said, their analysis is correct. There is no fire within 1,000 miles of Demon Fox Mountain. How could there be fire power here? It must have been the action of human monks. A monk who uses fire. The Fox King couldn't help but think deeply, remembering the hills he passed when he went to rescue Xianxia. A burnt corpse of a tiger demon was disemboweled. In his desperation, he didn't look much further. But the burnt black color was still fresh in his memory. Is that the human boy? Impossible, that's only the late stage of foundation building. But if we were only in the late stage of foundation building, it would not be so easy if we wanted to burn the tiger demon to death with fire, right? Moreover, there is the corpse of a demon eagle beside it. According to Qiuqi, The monk also frightened the demon bear. The Fox King once locked Zuyun with the coercion of demon consciousness and clearly knew his realm. It seems that if you want to know more, you have to ask Xiuqi. How did the human monk kill the two demons and force the demon bear away? Let's go. Since these people are not coming to Demon Fox Mountain, let's go back first. Moreover, the location of Demon Fox Mountain is already known, so we should change places. The Fox King turned around and ran towards Demon Fox Mountain with his men. It just so happened that he also asked the Great Elder to take the rest of the tribe away, so there was no need to summon them. You just need to go through the secret passage and be faster to catch up. Zuyun had not turned into a spirit body, so he could not understand what these demon foxes were chatting with each other. After seeing them leave, he breathed a long sigh of relief. Who knows? This breath was immediately discovered by the Fox King. It froze and stopped. At the same time, the demonic power in his body circulated and turned into a human form. Come out, or I will destroy this forest. After the words fell, a demon consciousness comparable to the peak of the late stage of pill formation enveloped him. Within a radius of 50 steps, all the giant trees stopped automatically without wind, and their leaves rustled. The weaker branches could not withstand the pressure and broke directly. And the dead leaves on the ground were turned into pieces. Zuyun was shocked. He had already experienced the temper of this Fox King, and he wanted to kill him without saying a word. Although he didn't die in the end, Zuyun guessed that Qiuqi helped him save his life. But at this time, Qiuqi is not here either. Zuyun really wanted to continue hiding, but at this moment, as the demon's power became more powerful, the tree he was hiding in was also unable to support it. There was a strange sound in the heart of the tree, and it might break at any time. Zuyun didn't know if he would be affected too, so he had no choice but to duck away from the giant tree. Suddenly, his feet gave way and he sank into the ground, as deep as his knees. In addition to the huge pressure of the demon consciousness, the dead leaves under his feet could no longer support Zuyun's body. Is it you? The Fox King frowned, and the demon consciousness disappeared without a trace in an instant. Zuyun took a long breath and said with a wry smile, "It's me." "Boy, did you kill that golden elixir?" The Fox King said in a deep voice. "It's me." Zuyun did not dare to deny it. After all, he was the only one here, and he believed that the Fox King had also heard the speculations about the pill formation stage just now. After all, he just breathed out, and his voice was extremely weak, so it would be discovered. "You are just a late foundation building cultivator, hey, you are already at the peak." The Fox King showed disdain, but was suddenly surprised by Zuyun's realm change. "Yes, senior." The Fox King did not dwell on this too much, but continued to ask, "Why do you want to kill that golden elixir?" Zuyun did not hesitate. When he was still a metal spirit, he knew from the communication with Xiaoqi that the Fox King had great knowledge, so he said directly, "Senior, those Jindan stage cultivators are here to kill me." "Boy," the Fox King glared and said, "do you think I am worldly wise?" Zuyun heard the hidden meaning, which meant that more than 10 late Jindan stage cultivators, even the peak of late Jindan stage cultivators, were chasing him, a small cultivator. He said helplessly, "Senior, I don't know either. I fled all the way here from Xian City." Xian City. The demon Fox King did not know Chuz who, but a five-tailed demon fox squeaked a few times and told him some information about Xian City. Especially mentioned the beast tied in Xian City. Before the elder finished explaining, the Fox King suddenly turned his head and looked behind him. Another demon fox rushed over eagerly, squeaking, as if something big had happened. The Fox King suddenly became murderous and shouted angrily, "What did you say? Xiaoqi is missing." Zuyun was also shocked. Did Qiuqi get into trouble? Could it be that some demon beast ambushed Qiuqi and captured him? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 306. Why is the good one missing? The Fox King knew that it was useless to be anxious at this time, so he calmed down and said in a deep voice. The great elder screamed, but Zuyun couldn't understand it either. But seeing the Fox King's brows getting tighter and tighter, he knew it was not a good thing. Especially knowing that there are demon clans that will kidnap demon foxes and sell them to the Peeper realm, it is inevitable to feel a little unfair. Just as he was debating whether to follow the Fox King to help, the Fox King turned to him and said, "Boy, since you have not harmed our demon fox clan and are not a Peeper realm monk, leave here quickly. Otherwise, leave here quickly. I can't guarantee what will happen." After saying that, he quickly left with his subordinates. Zuyun felt mixed emotions in his heart and sighed secretly. Yes, this is the hatred between the two clans, and it is not something that a little monk like him can get involved in. We can only hope that Qiuqi is safe and sound. After the demon foxes left, the surroundings quickly returned to silence. Zuyun quickly turned into a metal spirit body and ran towards the way he came. Those who are looking for him in the Dan formation stage will find the 10,000 formation order when they have at most one stick of incense. Tang Tiangang will definitely give up and order these monks to go deep into Shiwen Mountain again. If you want to leave, you have to hurry up. After turning into a spirit body, Zuyun could not make a sound at all. After running for 2 days without encountering any monsters, Zuyun thought of returning to the volcanic belt, then concentrate on breaking through, and then go to Liwo sect to rescue Sun Suanhua. Other side. Sun Qiniang also arrived at Shiwanda Mountain. Under the leadership of Li Mo, she quickly arrived at the place where Zuyun encountered the beast tide. You said you saw that, fellow Daoist Joe, right here. Sun Qiniang fell down, and the ground was covered with corpses. After a few days, the smell of blood disappeared and was replaced by a rotten smell. That's right, my father took me all the way here, just because he guessed that something unexpected happened to fellow Daoist Joe. I also went to retreat in the volcanic belt. I just wanted to break through and go to Xian City to avenge fellow Daoist Joe. Who knew that fate would bring about this? We met fellow Daoist Joe. We planned to go back to Liwo sect to take a look, but we were chased by people from Liwo section, but for some reason, people from Xian City also chased fellow Daoist Joe. He told me to leave by myself, but he led those den-forming people away, so I guess he will come back here. Sun Qiniang heard it like a tongue twister, and secretly thought to herself what was going on with Zuyun. He would be hunted down wherever he went. Just thinking about it gives me a headache. So, you brought me here to save fellow Daoist Joe. Sun Qiniang stared at her with beautiful eyes and said angrily, there are more than 10 people in the early stage of forming an elixir. How do you want to save the 2 of us who are in the early stage of forming an elixir? Li Mo was silent for a moment and said, Fairy son, if you don't dare, then I will go find him alone. Along the way with Sun Qiniang, Li Mo got to know Sun Qiniang somewhat, and actually felt a little sorry for Sun Qiniang. So at this time, he would tell the whole story. Sun Qiniang suddenly frowned and said, since you care about Daoist Joe so much, why don't you call your father to come and help? Your father is also in the elixir formation stage, right? It's better for the 3 of us to go together than to die as 2 of us. Li Mo's eyes turned red and he lowered his head. My father is dead, people from the Liwo sect rebelled and killed my father. That's why I was hunted down when I went to the Liwo sect with fellow Daoist Joe. Sun Qiniang was stunned for a moment, then whispered, my condolences. It doesn't matter, you didn't mean to do it. Li Mo took a deep breath, feeling that the heaviness in his heart had subsided a little, and then said, fellow Daoist Joe has tried to lure away the enemy several times despite his own life and death, and now he is being chased again. How can I ignore it while being killed? Before Sun Qiniang could speak, Li Mo said again, Fairy Sun, I, Li Mo, am now homeless. I only have one friend, Daiojo, in this life. If he doesn't die, I will risk my life to save him. If he is dead, and I will fight to the death to avenge him. Sun Qiniang was shocked. She didn't expect that Li Mo, who looked a little stupid, could suddenly say such words of love and justice. It can make people put their own life and death at risk. How similar is this to yourself? She smiled slightly and said, in that case, let's go in together. Kill people when people stand in their way, and kill monsters when they stand in the way of monsters. Li Mo said in surprise, really? Sun Qiniang still had a smile on her face, as if she was talking about something extremely relaxed, and said, what did I lie to you for? Okay, okay. I didn't expect Sun Xianxia to be a person who is not afraid of death. Then you are my second friend of Li Mo. Let's go. Li Mo was overjoyed, and his face couldn't stop the joy. The two of them flew quickly towards the west without stopping. The monsters in the outer area all had average intelligence. After the beast tide formed that day, they all died here. The two of them were flying high in the sky again, and sometimes they could see some lone birds and monsters, but they were anxious to find Zuyun as soon as possible, so they didn't take action. While flying, Sun Qiniang asked, by the way, what sect is the Silver Sword sect you are talking about? Sun Qiniang asked strangely. She couldn't find any information about this sect in Jian Tianming's memory. At that time, Li Mo attacked her because he mistook her for being a member of the Li Jian sect. Li Mo sighed and said, originally I wouldn't tell you, but now that you are my friend, it doesn't matter if I tell you. In fact, the Silver Sword sect is the sect my mother belongs to. Your mother's sect? Sun Qiniang was immediately interested. Even though she was a monk in the Dan formation stage or even the owner of Wanjian Mountain, she could not stop her curiosity at this time. Yes, my mother is from the Silver Sword section back then. My father was deceived by my mother and then gave birth to me. I don't know what happened after that. I only know that my father took Li Huo with him. Zone moved to the volcanic zone. Sun Qiniang looked strange, and what Li Mo said the most at that time came to mind. My father said that the more beautiful a woman is, the more likely she is to lie. But who is lying to whom? They all gave birth to a son. You know, Taoist couples are common among monks. But not many people are willing to have children. Health, and health should be nourished since birth. This will undoubtedly consume time for both parties to practice. In other words, it's a drag. Then did your father tell you what your mother lied to him about? Sun Qiniang couldn't figure it out, so she asked. My father didn't say anything about this. Anyway, he teaches me not to talk to strangers, especially beautiful women. Seeing how serious Li Mo was, Sun Qiniang couldn't help but pretend to be angry. Then you treat me as a friend, but you are calling me ugly. As he spoke, he deliberately held the long sword in his hand as if to chop it off. No, no. Li Mo quickly dodged to the side, and at the same time subconsciously covered his butt. Knowing that he had spilled the beans, he immediately explained, Sun Xianxia, you are different, you are different. Snort. Sun Qiniang snorted coldly, but her heart blossomed with joy, which added a bit of relaxation to the boring journey. She put away her sword and asked again, if we can get out safely, you haven't considered going to your mother's place, right? After all, you are 10 months pregnant, and your blood is thicker than water. Her purpose in saying this was actually to find a way out for Li Mo in advance. Zuyun likes to be alone, so he definitely doesn't want to take him with him. And I was thinking about things here and went back to Yunzhou Lingjian sect. Li Mo has an upright temperament and has no reservations about what he says. If he were walking alone in the world of immortality, he might be betrayed and still help count money. My father also asked my father this question, asking if he could visit my mother. Listening to Sun Qinyang's words, Li Mo knew that she was trying to persuade him, so he said, "Do you know what my father told me?" How to say? Sun Qinyang knew the result, but wanted to know what was said. Li Mo raised his head, looked forward, and said lightly, "I still remember that when I first started practicing, I was inside the volcano. He said, you can't see her if you jump down from here or die outside. One side." Sun Qinyang frowned and said, "How much hatred and resentment does this have?" Li Mo shook his head and said, "My father never said anything. I know nothing about the Silver Sword sect except for beauty, women, and sword use." Sun Qinyang was extremely helpless. It was no wonder that Li Mo took action against her and fell silent. After flying for a while, they suddenly saw two figures appearing in front of them. She took a closer look and saw two extremely beautiful female cultivators with spiritual swords at their feet. One of them was holding a furry white monster in her hand. A person from the Silver Sword sect. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 307. These two people need to fly on swords, and the spiritual power fluctuations on their bodies are not too strong. At first glance, they are in the foundation building stage. It should be. Sun Qinyang turned around and flew towards the two people. Li Mo was surprised and thought that Sun Qinyang was helping him to vent his hatred. He couldn't help but said anxiously, "Fairy Sun, let's find Brother Joe first." Sun Qinyang didn't even turn her head, just said to follow, and she had already stopped in front of the two people. "Are you from the Silver Sword sect?" Hello, senior, we are disciples of the Silver Sword sect." Faced with the pressure of the Jindan stage, the two female cultivators trembled with fear. At this time, Li Mo also followed, his face full of vigilance, and whispered to Sun Qinyang, "Fairy Sun, women from the Silver Sword sect are the best at deceiving people, you should be careful not to be fooled." But this voice was clearly heard by the two female cultivators. If they were not afraid that Li Mo was also in the Jindan stage, they would definitely teach him a lesson. Sun Qinyang had no time to pay attention to Li Mo, but asked calmly, "You came from the 10,000 mountains. Have you seen a large number of Jindan stage cultivators?" As she spoke, she looked at the monster in one of the men's arms, and recognized it as a demon fox. "No. I didn't see it, but I heard the noise of their fight." "Yes, senior, we also took the opportunity to catch a demon fox," the two said one after another. Sun Qinyang was delighted and asked, "Where is it?" Over there." The empty-handed female cultivator pointed to the west and said, "About 500 miles away. Don't believe what they say." At this time, Li Mo spoke again, saying, "I heard from my father that demon foxes should not be harmed in Chuzhu. You are only in the foundation building stage, and you dare to catch demon foxes? You are so brave." "Senior, we dare not lie to you." Another person said in a hurry, "We saw that this demon fox has some spirituality and has given birth to 3 tails. It happened to be the 500th birthday of the sect master, so we wanted to give it as a gift, and we didn't mean to hurt the demon fox." As she said that, she loosened her hand slightly, indicating that Li Mo could check it out. Who knew that the demon fox suddenly swung its 3 tails at the same time, brushing past the face of the female cultivator, and then suddenly rushed into Sun Qinyang's arms. "It seems that this little demon fox doesn't like to follow you." Sun Qinyang didn't know why, but when she saw this demon fox, she remembered how weak and helpless she was back then, and she immediately felt compassion. Seeing that her whole body was white, she liked it very much. "Senior, we finally caught it, and it has been hiding here for a long time." "Yes, senior, you are also in the Jindan stage, how can you bear to attack us juniors?" The two female cultivators were shocked. They caught it with great difficulty, and it was gone now. How could they be willing? But Sun Qinyang didn't care at all, and showed a playful smile on her face. I didn't rob it, it was this little demon fox who liked me. Okay, it's okay, get out. The two female cultivators didn't dare to do it at all. Even though they were unhappy, they could only turn around and leave. But when they turned around, each of them showed a vicious look in their eyes. But at this time, Li Mo suddenly said, "Stop." The two female cultivators were startled, thinking that Li Mo had discovered something, but they heard Li Mo ask, "Is your sect leader's 500th birthday?" "Yes, yes, senior." The two female cultivators breathed a sigh of relief and said respectfully, "It's okay, you can go." Li Mo waved his hand, and the two of them were as if they had been pardoned, so they dared not stay any longer. After seeing them go away, Sun Qinyang asked with a smile, "Why, your mother is the leader of the Silver Sword sect." Li Mo was stunned and said, "Well, my father told me." Sun Qinyang thought for a while, stuffed the demon fox into his arms, and said, "You may like it, otherwise you can follow the two female cultivators back to the silver section. As for fellow Daoist Joe, I will go alone." Li Mo was stunned, and immediately shook his head and said, "No, I can't treat this demon fox as a gift, and I won't go to the silver sword section." Sun Qinyang was speechless, thinking that Li Mo was a bit rigid, but she couldn't force Li Mo to recognize his relatives, so she simply said, "In this case, let's go there quickly. 500 miles is not close." As she said, she landed on the ground and planned to put the demon fox down. Who knew that the demon fox didn't want to leave Sun Qinyang at all, but pointed to the west and squeaked non-stop. "Do you mean to go there with me?" Sun Qinyang asked curiously. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The fox demon nodded repeatedly. Because she was Qiuqi. At that time, after she followed the elder into the secret passage, she slipped out while the elder was not paying attention, because she didn't want her father to stay alone. But she didn't expect that at that time, the 7 elders of the entire Fox Demon Mountain followed the Fox King to fight the enemy, and the elder went to summon the rest of the fox demons, so she slipped out and was caught by 2 female cultivators of the Silver Sword sect who had been ambushed nearby. That's why, when she heard Li Mo say that the people of Chuzhu would not attack the fox demons, she took the opportunity to escape to Sun Qinyang. At this time, Sun Qinyang still had to go deeper into the Fox Demon Mountain, so she naturally wanted to go with him. After all, she couldn't fly yet. With her short legs, if she ran on the ground, she didn't know how long it would take to get there. "Interesting, is your home over there?" Sun Qinyang smiled and picked up Qiuqi again. Qiuqi nodded repeatedly. Sun Qinyang said again, "But we are going to find someone, it may be very dangerous, are you afraid?" Qiuqi rolled his eyes, thinking that it would be dangerous to go back alone, so he might as well take the risk with Sun Qinyang, so he shook his head. "Then let's go, hold on to my clothes." Sun Qinyang smiled and jumped into the air, and continued moving towards the west with Li Mo. Now that they had a little more news, they moved forward at full speed, much faster than before. But the 2 female cultivators did not go far. "Sister, demon foxes are so valuable now. If we can catch one and sell it to someone in the Peepa realm, these 3-tailed demon foxes can give us a lot of spiritual stones. But those 2 pill-forming stages. It doesn't matter. These 2 people have something to do, so we told them to come in and catch other monsters. As long as they stay far away from Demon Fox Mountain, it won't be too late for us to act." Good. The 2 of them had no intention of following Sun Qinyang and the others, but they were on their way to Yehua Mountain. In order to avoid misunderstanding, we still descended to the high base and flew under the canopy of the trees. At this time, Zuyun ran for a long time. He felt that the metal spirit consumed a lot of spiritual power, but he did not dare to enter the day-glazed mirror at this time. After thinking for a moment, I decided to take a detour and go into the mirror again. The volcanic belt is in the south, and Zuyun is running towards the south. When the time comes, it will be a waste of time to leave the Shiwen mountain in a straight line. He didn't know that because of this, he missed the opportunity to meet Sun Qiniang and the others. Zuyun returned to his original form and took the steps of the immortality secret. He secretly guessed that it must be the consumption of 2 levels of spiritual power that caused this. In comparison, one more golden escape technique was used. After running wildly for several hours, it became dark. Zuyun then casually found a place at the bottom of the valley. After observing, he ducked into the Dewu glazed mirror. But I'm exhausted. This 100,000 mountain is too scary. Thinking of meeting the Fox King twice, Zuyun couldn't help but feel lingering fear. Fortunately, he expressed his kindness to Qiuqi, otherwise he would definitely die. But he didn't blame the Fox King for being so arrogant. His tribesmen were captured and fed medicine and turned into pets. The Fox King was already extremely restrained. I really don't know what the monks in the Peepa realm are thinking. Are there no female monks there? Zuyun muttered and started to refine his qi. He was not in a hurry to make a breakthrough. Cultivation should not be rushed. Soon, he became immersed in his mind and slowly circulated his spiritual power. And at this time, something big happened in Wanjian Mountain. Wanjianren's soul card was broken. The guarding disciples panicked and flew towards the platform. But they discovered that there was no elder here at all. Because all the elders have already set off to Chezhu. In panic, he ran to the forbidden area. Elder Kenpeki, who has been guarding this place for hundreds of years, is no longer here either. There are no elders above the pill formation stage at all. Is something serious going on? The disciple was immediately stunned and immediately informed his familiar senior brothers of the news. But paper cannot contain the fire. In just one day, the news that the mountain master was dead and all the elders were missing spread throughout the mountain gate. For a time, people were panicked. Without the Danja period, if other hostile forces come, they will definitely die. Escape. This word appears in everyone's mind. They also know very well that although Wanjian Mountain has already unified Yezhu, but there are definitely many remnants. No one wants to die. Immediately, all the foundation building disciples in Wanjian Mountain dispersed like birds and beasts. The 18 prefectures of Yao Kingdom. There is always a place to settle down. Just like that, Wanjianshan suddenly dispersed. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 308. But now, the more than 20 elders of Wanjian Mountain have no idea what happened in Wanjian Mountain. A group of people are waiting in the volcanic zone. There was excitement in each of their eyes. It's amazing. I didn't expect it to actually appear in Chezhu. Jian couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Brother Yi, how are we doing now? Are we going to Xian City? Kenpeki asked from the side. There's no rush for now, Jian said with a smile on his face. The second brother took Li Chenggan to Xian City and will wait until there is news from there. Then we need a place to stay, right? This place is so hot that it kills me. Jian Shiba was also upset nearby. They were all sword cultivators, and they were very unaccustomed to the environment at this time, which also affected their sword practice. We really need to find a place. I'll stay here. You divide into 4 groups and go out and have a look. If you find anything, come back and report it to me. The sword gave a command, and the group of people quickly dispersed. But soon, the group in the east, led by Jian-san, all returned. Jian-san said anxiously, Brother One, there is a sect over there. The place looks pretty good. We have been observing for a long time and it seems that they are all sects that use fire. Just use fire. Xianxia raised his white eyebrows. They sword cultivators were least afraid of monks who only had magic skills. Indeed, why not? We'll discuss it later when the others come back. Xianxia interrupted Jiansan's words, and when everyone came back, he immediately decided to attack Li Huo sect. Because within 50 miles in the other three directions, there is no human habitation at all. Nearly 20 people in the Danja period rushed towards the Liwo sect. With such strength, how could Liwo sect be any match? Their main method is the Liwo curse, and their overall strength is not as good as Jianyi's. Only a few hours later, at the cost of 3 people in the Dan formation stage being seriously injured, causing the Jin Dan to lose their bodies, the Liwo sect was completely wiped out. Everyone has been assigned to the cave, where they can concentrate on practicing and wait for Jian to come back with good news. The one who suffered the most was Sun Suanhua. Damn it, why did the people from Wanjian Mountain come here? Within the 9 turns and 9 suns formation, Sun Suanhua looked at the Danja period who was meditating in the cave and was dumbfounded. Originally, Sun Suanhua was extremely excited when a war broke out in Liwo sect. To be on the safe side, he decided to wait until the fight was over and after these people had plundered the Liwo sect's treasury and left, he could then walk out boldly. Who would have thought that these people would actually stay here? What's even worse is that he is actually from Wanjian Mountain. When he was chased all the way to Yunzhou in Yaezhu, how could he not know what Wanjianshan people were wearing? In the cave, sitting is Jianjiju. A very young person in the early stages of pill formation. According to his strength, he was naturally assigned to a cave that was ranked lower. At this time, he was recovering from his injuries. Damn it, am I going to stay here for the rest of my life? Sun Suanhua gritted his teeth and was furious. He is not stupid. A person who stayed here to heal his wounds in the early stage of forming a pill meant that the Liwo sect had been completely wiped out. To need such strength, Wanjianshan must have gone through many stages of forming pills. Thinking further, Sun Suanhua even guessed that the entire Yaezhu fell into the control of Wanjianshan, so he took action against Chuzhu. Hey, you are willing to stay in this miserable place? Can you give me a way to survive? Sun Suanhua sat on the ground a little dejectedly. I really don't know when I can go out. I thought that after finding a spiritual fire, I could show off my skills. Who knows? First as a coolie, now in jail. When Li Yan was still alive, he was able to continuously refine elixirs and achieve breakthroughs in the alchemy path. But now, the elixir is no longer sustainable, and he can no longer make elixirs. Is it possible that I have to practice too? Sun Suanhua smiled bitterly and couldn't help but remember what he told Zuyun before, not to delay business because of cultivation. As a result, if I want to make a breakthrough, I can only practice cultivation? I don't know how far that boy Zuyun has reached in his cultivation, or whether he has ever gone to Yaezhu. Sun Suanhua sighed and decided to practice hard next. I'm afraid it's impossible to expect a breakthrough in alchemy. Red Flame City. The 2 big dogs took Li Heiran into the inn, and Li Chengan came right after. Jian did not enter the city, but told Li Chengan that his son might have been brought here and asked him to inquire about the situation in the city. Jian didn't know that Li Chengan, whom he had casually deceived, would actually hit the mark. Li Chengan didn't doubt him because they flew directly from Wanjian Mountain. He didn't believe that Jian would go to all the trouble to bring him here just to deceive him. Where did you get the news? Li Chengan asked. We, Wanjian Mountain, will unify Yaezhu, so we naturally have countless channels. You must recognize your identity. From now on, you will be our dog in Wanjian Mountain. In terms of strength, Jian is not afraid of Li Chengan. Li Chengan clenched his fists and said angrily, Jian, you can treat me like a dog, but the first step is to find my son and settle him down. Xianxia smiled, whatever you think. With that said, he took out a bag of spiritual stones and threw it to Li Chenggan. Li Chenggan has already sworn the oath of heaven. He was not afraid that Li Chenggan would escape. After Li Chenggan entered the city, Daegu also arranged Chen Hua to watch Li Heiran, and he needed to go out to inquire about some information. He had just arrived in Xian City, so he had to know the rules here. And Luo Yanran didn't know what was going on. After so long, he still hadn't really taken control of his body, which made both of them very distressed. But fortunately, Li Heiran was no longer drooling, and looked at most like a fool, not a fool as before. Don't worry, I'll watch Senior Luo here, you go. Chen Hua said with a smile. Well, be careful. Daegu put the formation key in his pocket, and after leaving the inn, he immediately saw Li Chenggan coming towards him, and his face changed drastically. Boy, do you know me? Feeling that someone was staring at him, Li Chenggan turned around and saw that it was a kid in the early stage of foundation building, so he focused his eyes and shouted in a deep voice. The kid saw the imposing aura of the senior. Get lost! Li Chenggan shouted angrily, and the big dog hurried away, secretly relieved in his heart. Fortunately, he did not take the transsexual pill, otherwise Li Chenggan would definitely recognize him. However, he actually chased him to Xian City. This is not good, I have to go back and tell Chen Hua first. The big dog's brain turned quickly, and he came back after a circle. After seeing that Li Chenggan was not here, he immediately ran towards the room on the third floor. But he didn't know that Li Chenggan came out from another corner. This kid must know me. This is Chuzhu, and he is in the foundation building stage. The fear just now was not fake. Moreover, he deliberately avoided me. I am afraid there is an ulterior motive, maybe I can get news about my son from him. Li Chenggan is the leader of a sect after all. Even if the Haori sect no longer exists, it will not affect his nature. In order to find his son, he is willing to be a dog of Wanjian Mountain. It was enough to show how important Li Heiran was in his heart. He stood at the door for a while before he walked into the inn. Tang's Tavern? Humph. Li Chenggan didn't take the city seriously at all, even though he saw the big formation outside with his own eyes. No one could stop him from finding his son. Senior, are you staying at the hotel? A waiter came up to him when he saw that he was in the Jindan stage. Li Chenggan casually took out a storage bag, stuffed 100 spirit stones into it in front of the waiter, and then threw it over. Has the round-headed guy just now been seen? The waiter was startled and asked hurriedly, Senior, are you here to look for someone? Li Chenggan had a blank expression on his face and asked back, what do you think? The waiter took a deep breath and stuffed the spirit stone back with courage. Then he said, Senior, our Tang's winehouse has very strict rules. Unless the city lord Tang orders, it is impossible to disclose the guest's information. Li Chenggan was stunned, and then laughed in anger. I said, where did you get the courage from? It turns out that the city lord is behind this inn. After saying that, before the waiter could react, Li Chenggan casually slapped his hand back. Bang! The wooden door shattered instantly. The waiter was shocked and ran to the back of the counter and pressed down on the head of the stone monster. At the same time, he shouted, City Lord Tang, someone is messing up here. The big dog, who had just arrived at the door, had heard Li Chenggan's voice and hurriedly ran into the house with the formation key. Big dog, why are you so nervous? Chen Hua had never seen Big Dog so nervous before, and he was also shocked. Big Dog said in a deep voice, it's okay, someone will come in later, just listen to my arrangements. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 309. The stone monster was pressed down, and a large formation immediately rose up in the inn. This formation can not only protect against the beast tide at night, but also prevent the people inside from breaking out. And the waiter's voice calling for help to the stone sculpture quickly reached Tang Tiangong's city lord's mansion. Do we, Xianxia, really think we are so easy to bully? Tang Tiangang was furious. Just before news came from those Dan formation periods that they had found the 10,000 formation orders, but no one was found at all. Tang Tiangang knew that he had been fooled. In a small period of foundation building, he actually dared to risk such a big risk and broke into the depths of the 100,000 mountains, and threw down the 10,000 formation order. From beginning to end, I was being manipulated. He couldn't help but think that if it hadn't been to save his life at that time, it would certainly not have been possible to return the solution to the formation. This kid is so scheming, you can't keep him. After finally calming down, he guessed that Zuyun could not go any further to the west, so he gave the order to let these people disperse, expand the search area and pursue them back the same way. News came here again that someone was at Tang's restaurant making trouble there. How could he endure it? He immediately ran towards the teleportation array, and a moment later, he had arrived at the inn. And Li Chengan was even more confident. He reached the peak of the late stage of elixir formation, and guessed that his son was here. Jian is outside the city again, he has nothing to fear. This fellow Taoist, why do you want to destroy my restaurant? Suddenly, Tang Tiangong's figure came out from behind the counter. Li Chengan couldn't help but be stunned and frowned. Have you always been in the inn? He originally thought that the so-called city lord would come from outside. Feeling that Tang Tiangang had no spiritual power again, his brows furrowed even deeper. Ha ha ha, Tang Tiangang laughed and said, in this scarlet flame city, as long as I want, I can appear anywhere. But fellow Taoist, do you think that at the peak of the late stage of pill formation, I can do whatever I want here? He is also in the stage of forming the core. Although he cannot use his spiritual power, he can feel Li Chengan's state. On the contrary, Li Chengan noticed that the other party's spiritual power was not obvious, so he couldn't help but be cautious secretly. Hearing him say that again made him even more wary. I'm looking for my son. Someone has kidnapped my son and is hiding in this inn. Li Chengan's tone was also a little more polite. What evidence do you have? If anyone says that they want to find someone, will my inn still be able to do business? He looked around and saw that at some of the wine tables in the lobby, the monks who were eating and drinking had long been frightened into a ball and huddled in the corner. Is this the lord of Tang City? Li Chengan said in a calm tone, I gave the waiter 100 spiritual stones as payment for the trouble. I just asked him to take me to meet that person. The courtesy has been fulfilled, and I also asked the lord of Tang City to give him some face. In addition, as he spoke, he took out another bag of spiritual stones, pointed at the door and said, you should be responsible for the loss of destroying the door. Tang Tiangang lowered his eyes, motioned to the waiter to take the spirit stone, and continued, Tang is not an unreasonable person. As for the spirit stone, let's put it here for now. If you find that person, he will indeed kidnap you. Son, I will accept this spiritual stone. But if the guest upstairs is not the one you are looking for, how about giving it to him as a disturbing fee? Outside, Tang Tiangang will still try his best to maintain his image. Otherwise, why would those monks be here? Another wave of beasts, and another indifferent city lord. So good. Li Chengan just wanted to find Li Heiran and didn't care about face at all. Of course, if Tang Tiangang refused, he would take action immediately. No one can stop him. Or he died here. Where is the person he is looking for? Tang Tiangang asked the waiter. Go back to City Lord, in room number 5, Xianxia. The waiter said while holding the spirit stone. Take him up. Did you hear clearly what the lord of the city just said? Listen clearly, the waiter said quickly. If the person upstairs is the person the senior is looking for, the spirit stone will be regarded as the inn's compensation. If it is not the person he is looking for, the spirit stone will be regarded as the guest's compensation. Tang Tiangang smiled and said, Go. The waiter took a spare araki from the counter, walked up to Li Chengan, and said respectfully, Senior, please follow me. Thank you City Lord Tang, thank you very much. Seeing such cooperation, Li Chengan was naturally willing to say thank you. As everyone knows, Tang Tiangang is on the verge of an explosion. If there weren't many monks present here, as well as some other subordinates, he would not be able to bear it. Once his image is ruined, it will affect his preparation for revenge against Wanjianshan. It's a pity that he didn't know that Wanjian Mountain was now empty. In fact, all the people in the pill formation stage went to Chuzhu to seize his red flame city first. Under the leadership of the waiter, Li Chengan quickly reached the 3rd floor. Senior, the guest you are looking for is right here. Standing in front of the door of Xianxia number 5 room, the waiter said respectfully. The windows of your house are outside. If it's really the people I'm looking for, will they hear the noise downstairs and run away first? Li Chengan suppressed his excitement and said. When he started destroying the door, he kept an eye on the outside, just in case the people upstairs heard the noise and jumped out of the window. Senior, please don't worry. I have just activated the formation. People outside the house can't get in, and people inside can't get out. Oh. Li Chengan's eyebrows lit up, this is the best. He never thought that this formation would trap him in. Senior, this formation can resist the beast tide, so you can imagine how strong it is. And each room is also soundproof, so you don't have to worry about disturbing the guests. The waiter was also very smart and knew what Li Chengan was worried about. Since there is a formation, then take me in. The object in your hand can go in directly, right? Li Chengan felt a little strange in his relaxed mood. Jian said that there was news that his son was here, and Li Chengan believed it. In addition, a strange cultivator showed fear after seeing him, and he had long determined that his son was here. Yes, Senior. The waiter naturally did not dare to neglect it. He took the formation key and pushed the door open with Li Chengan. It can be seen that De Go and Ergo are sitting opposite each other at the small round table in the center. Seeing someone breaking in, Chen Hua slammed the table and stood up and cursed, Waiter, what's going on? Why did you bring someone to my room? But when he saw Li Chengan following the waiter, his pupils shrank. De Go had made preparations early. He was afraid that Chen Hua would be exposed, so he didn't say directly that it was Li Chengan who came. At this time, he quickly said, Senior, why are you here? I just bumped into you unintentionally. Chen Hua was just a straightforward person, not stupid. When he heard that what De Go said was a little different, he knew what he meant. At the same time, he also realized that Li Chengan couldn't recognize them as men. But Li Chengan's eyes fell on Chen Hua. Junior, don't you want to buy me a drink too? He also saw the fear in Chen Hua's eyes. It's not the kind of awe of the Jindan period, but the fear of life and death. He, Li Chengan, has seen too much. It was when he kidnapped some female cultivators for Li Heiran to play with. Exactly the same. Senior, please sit down. Big Dog continued to answer, and on the other side, he pulled Chen Hua to the side. Chen Hua suppressed his fear, thinking about everything that Big Dog had just done and what he had told him, and he couldn't help but calm down. Ha ha ha, not bad. Li Chengan actually walked over and sat down. He took the wine in the wine pot and smelled it, then raised the wine pot, then raised his head and pointed the spout at himself. After such a great humiliation, he finally found his son. When he came in, he saw a person lying on the bed from the corner of his eye. Even though the curtains were down and it was blurry, and the quilt was also covered. Finished a pot of wine. Li Chengan stood up and turned to the waiter and said, "If these two people really took my son away, can I kill them?" Before the waiter could speak, Dago said anxiously, "What are you talking about, senior? How dare I catch your son?" "Humph." Li Chengan snorted coldly and said, "Boy, this is someone else's territory, I can't do anything to you. But do you think you can survive?" "No one can survive if they touch me, Li Chengan." As he said that, he stood up and walked towards the bed, pulling open the curtains. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 310. Who are you? A graceful female voice sounded with a little panic. Li Chenjan's hands froze in place, his eyes staring at the woman in the quilt, his face full of disbelief. He couldn't believe it anyway, why it was a woman. Moreover, it was a woman he had never seen before. "Who are you?" After a long while, Li Chengan asked back in a harsh voice. I. Luo Yanran's thinking was a little behind, and Daegu interrupted at this time, "Senior, this is my sister. You scared her by going over like this." Li Chengan turned around suddenly and said in a deep voice, "Boy, what a trick you played." As he said that, he was about to tear Luo Yanran's clothes. Luo Yanran's pupils shrank, and her body subconsciously hid behind. She was originally a female cultivator, and her reaction in this regard was no different from that of a normal female cultivator. And this scene also fell into Li Chenjan's eyes, and he couldn't help but be a little confused. Is it really a female cultivator? Isn't it my son in disguise? Yes, how could my son be afraid of me? Li Chenjan's hand froze, and then slowly put it down, and the look in his eyes became much more lonely. He didn't know what went wrong. But he knew that this was not his son. Whether it was the dodging eyes or the silly look that she didn't have at all like her son. "Excuse me." Li Chengan stepped back from the edge of the bed, and the curtains naturally fell down. He turned around and walked out of the house. The waiter didn't understand, but he knew that the person on the bed was not his son. He threw the bag of spirit stones to the big dog and hurried out. He needed to report the situation here to Tang Tiangang. After the two disappeared outside the house, Chen Hua was covered in cold sweat and sat down somewhat dejectedly, with a cold back. And Daegu was surprised and said, "Senior Luo, are you awake?" After returning to the room, Daegu had guessed that Li Chengan might come at any time, so in a hurry, he forced Li Heiran to take the sex-changing pill. Who knows? After taking this pill, not only did he become a girl, but also allowed Luo Yanran to control Li Heiran's body for a short time. "In fact, I have always been awake, but this body cannot let me control it all the time." Luo Yanran supported her body and sat up. Although she thought this sex-changing pill was very interesting before. But when she used it on her own body, the strange feeling made her feel refreshed. At the same time, she also knew why she was so difficult. It was completely because of the difference in gender. It's like Urgu practicing the chi refining method of Yaluo sect. No matter what, he couldn't break through the bottleneck of the 8th level of chi refining. In the end, it was also due to fate. He took the sex-changing pill and became a girl, and the result was a natural breakthrough. Thinking of this, Luo Yanran couldn't help but smile bitterly. "Senior Luo, I didn't expect Li Chengan to come here. What should we do now?" With Luo Yanran, Daegu gave her the decision-making power. "You ask me, who should I ask?" Luo Yanran sighed and said, "I'm not familiar with Chezhu, but I know a little about Xian City. If I could talk before, I wouldn't let you come here." "Can't Xian City come?" Daegu was shocked. They had not been here for a long time and had not taken a good look at Xian City. The city lord Tang Tiangang is a lunatic and has a mortal feud with Wanjian Mountain. Now that hundreds of years have passed, I don't know much about it. I have a good place to go. Luo Rainian pondered for a while and said, while I'm still awake, let's go to the northwest. Northwest? Daegu asked hurriedly, is it safe in the northwest? Luo Rainian smiled and said, if I remember correctly, Chen Hua also has a transsexual pill. Yes, yes. Chen Hua hurriedly got up, took out the pill, and presented it to Luo Yanran. Luo Yanran took it and said, there is a sect in the northwest, called the Silver Sword Section. 2 months is enough for us to get there. I am an old acquaintance of their sect leader. As long as I can speak and prove my identity, I will have some face. In recent days, she has also looked at Daegu and Chen Hua with new eyes. These two people have had several opportunities to ignore her. But they never gave up or abandoned her. These two guys are different from other cultivators. Especially, they are disciples from Wanjian Mountain. Unbelievable. Senior, if it is safe there, then we can go there. Daegu said with great joy. In that case, let's set off again tonight. Li Chengan is extremely doting on his son. He can actually find Xian City. I think Haori sect must have undergone a huge change. Luo Yanran is also an old witch who has lived for 700 or 800 years. She is very discerning in judging people and things. She almost guessed some of the reasons in one sentence. It's up to you, Senior Luo. Luo Yanran nodded and said, but there is one thing you need to pay attention to. There may be a beast tied in Xian City at any time. You just need to follow me closely. I can control not only my body, but also my spiritual power. However, I am only in the middle stage of foundation building, so I am a little uncomfortable. Senior Luo, if you are too fast, we can't keep up. Daegu smiled and responded, and Chen Hua nodded repeatedly. The two looked at each other. Each of them saw what was in their minds. As long as Luo Yanran is arranged, they will find a way to return to Yaezhu to find Zuyun. I don't know how he and Ergu are doing now. Downstairs of the inn, Tang Tiangang said calmly, my fellow Taoist looks like this, it seems he is disappointed. City Lord Tang, you are disturbing me. Li Chengan looked indifferent, but still held his hand towards Tang Tiangang. He wanted to go out of the city to find Jian Er and ask for detailed information. For example, did the news say who brought his son? If we cause trouble next time, don't blame me for being rude. Tang Tiangang snorted coldly, and with a wave of his hand, several formation patterns flashed through the inn, and Li Chengan was thrown directly out of the room. And all the guests clapped their hands and applauded in the corner. The Lord of Tang City is mighty. City Lord Tang is indeed a reasonable person. Ha ha ha, that's why some of my companions died in the beast tide in Scarlet Flame City, and I also brought people to Scarlet Flame City to make a fortune, that's it? Listening to the compliments from all around, Tang Tiangang smiled and said to everyone, Crimson Flame City is a place with rules. Regardless of strength, anyone who breaks the rules here will be punished. Everyone is here today. If you are frightened, then the cost will be borne by Tang. Hearing this, the monks were overjoyed and wanted to refuse politely, but Tang Tiangang didn't give them a chance at all. Instead, he walked behind the counter, walked down the stairs to the basement, and then used the teleportation array to return to the city lord's palace. The leader of the Haori sect, Li Chengan, came here to look for his son? It's interesting. It seems like something big has happened in Yaezhu. Sitting in the sect master's hall, Tang Tiangang held his chin, squinted his eyes, and talked to himself. In Yaezhu, it is not enough for the Wanjian Mountain sect to shake the Haori sect's status. Looks like I need to check out the news over there. Tang Tiangang waved his hand, and several more formation patterns appeared out of thin air. Go to Yeazhu to find out some news about Wanjian Mountain and Haori section. Go back as soon as possible. Yes, City Lord Tang. After the words fell, Tang Tiangang removed the formation pattern again. No one knows how many formations have been deployed in the main hall of Tang Tiangang. And he picked up another array disk and contacted the monks in Shiwen Mountain. No news came from there, and I don't know where the kid went. At the same time, Li Chengan also appeared outside the city. In front of him stood Jian Er. Didn't you find any news about your son? Jian Er asked. Li Chengan shook his head, with a hint of begging in his tone. Elder Jian Er, could you please tell me some other news about my son? Jian Er was stunned. He had some fart news. In fact, he was tricked into entering Scarlet Flame City to inquire about the situation. What did you hit? Jian Er asked keenly. I saw two young monks in the foundation building stage who looked very panicked when they saw me, so I thought they were related to my son. But I personally found his residence, and found that it was not. Li Chengan seemed to be a middle-aged man who had lost his son, with a look of disappointment on his face. Where are they? In order not to reveal any clues, Jian Er followed Li Chengan's words and asked. I was kicked out by the city lord of an inn called Tang's Restaurant. City lord? Yes, city lord, surnamed Tang. That inn is owned by the city lord. Jian Er's breathing became slightly faster. Li Chengan actually saw Tang Tiangang? After pondering for a moment, he said, maybe Tang Tiangang really captured your son, and this matter needs to be discussed in the long run. How about you follow me to a place first, and we will bring people to kill him? You mean? Li Chengan was a little confused, wondering why Jian Er would use the word kill. Haven't you seen it yet? Even the Lord of Tang City has taken action. I'm afraid this matter is not simple. Outside Xian City, there may be a tide of beasts at any time at night. You come with me first. On the way, tell me in detail what to do after entering. What happened? Outside the city, he had already used the Zaofu sect's telegraph to contact Jianyi. They are in the Liwo sect, which is more than 1,000 miles away. Thank you, Elder Jian Er. Li Chengan burst into tears with gratitude, thinking that Jian Er really wanted to abide by his oath, just to find his son. But don't know. Not long after they left, the three big dogs left from the west gate of Xian City and flew to the northwest under the cover of night. The destination is Silver Sword Sect.